Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Mid Speeds live class. We're starting something new. So I know Robert posted it, but I will go ahead and make the announcement. So we will be starting next week. We'll be doing lower speeds on Monday evenings from 8:30 to 9:30, and mid speeds will be on Wednesday nights from 8:30 to 9:30, and Fridays will be on high speeds will be on Friday from 8:30 to 9:30. So with the exception of this Friday we're going to keep it in the morning from 9 to 10. But then after this Friday, we'll go to 8:30 to 9:30 on Fridays for upper speeds. So this is our mid speeds live class from 8:30 to 9:30. I see it's 8:30 right now, right on the dot. So we'll go ahead and get started. I will mute everybody. And that way we don't get interrupted. All right, let's go ahead and get started with some common words. Ready? Always, said, 3, upon, book, morning, business, number, then, people, receive, its, place, date, tell, sure, mother, enough, each, credit, days, kind, ago, ask, off, without, office, house, under, through, most, service, once, big, own, another, part, herewith, into, sending, state, interest, pay, try, having, quite, boy, correct, freight, April, red, chance, play. All right, now I'm going to give you some Indycar series schedules. Here we go. State this so I know we covered it. Ready? Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, Roadrunner Turbo Indy 300, 93rd Indianapolis 500, ABC Supply Company AJ Foyt 225, Bombardier Learjet 550, Iowa Corn Indy 250, SunTrust Indy Challenge, Camping World Watkins Glen Grand Prix, Honda Indy Toronto, Rexall Edmonton Indy, Honda 200, Miger Indy 300, Peak Antifreeze and Motor Oil Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma County, Peak Antifreeze Indy 300, Indy Japan 300, and Gaines Co. Auto Insurance Indy 300. All right. Now I've got some of the top best human features. Then I'm going to give you top 10 best hobbies, along with top 10 things to collect. Here we go. Top best human features. Here we go. The brain, love, common sense, humor, eyesight, the heart, confidence, taste, bravery, talent. Top 10 best hobbies. Sports, surfing the internet, video games, dancing, hacky sack, board games, playing guitar, making models, exercising, knitting. Top 10 things to collect. Movies, music, songs, video games, coins, cards, stamps, dolls, marbles, stickers, keychains. All right. Let's do some names and addresses. Here we go. Richard S. Spong, S-P-O-N-G, 106 Kenwood Court, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, 56701. Ms. Susan C. Shepard, SHEPARD, 812 East Witch Drive, Lafayette, Indiana, 47905. Judy L. Reinschler, RENSCHLER, 3500 International Drive, Washington, D.C., 20008. Michael L. Chavez, CHAVEZ, Embassy of Kuwait. L.S. Sorum, 4018 West 65th Street, Edina, Minnesota, 55435. Sergeant Vincent G. Serio, SERIO, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 28307. Tracy G. Gruss, GRUSS, 5024 Oakwood Drive, North Taunton, New York, 14120. Madeline W. Vasquez, VASQUEZ, 584 Academy Street, New York, New York, 10034. Joy N. Sweet, SWEET, 1017 Shenandoah Drive, Maine, Indiana, 47905. Gail A. Egbers, EGBERS, Bethel High School, 22001 38th Avenue, E, Spawnway, Washington, 98387. All right. Let's tackle some doublets. Here we go. Electric heating, fluorescent lighting, insulation materials, limited edition, petroleum products, merchandising service, interior decorator, bleaching compound, astrological forecast, steamship terminal, louvered windows, matching luggage, refrigeration unit, garbage disposal, factory maintenance, trash compactor, cash register, ceramic tile, television station, engineering report, advertising agent. All right, let's do some sentences that focus on the final consonants FR and FRZ. Here we go. The undercover drovers were never discovered. I will endeavor to deliver the drivers. Beverly favors bluffers over lovers. The movers took slivers of the livers. Divers discover buffers under the levers. In your endeavors, deliver the weavers. We were rougher and tougher than divers. The chauffeurs drove flivvers. The duffers hover over Dover. Beavers are movers, not loafers. She favors the briefer buffers. Discover the stuffers who differ. He who wavers may suffer. The flavors were cleverly disguised. Uncover the favors given to loafers. Never hover over the braver beaver. Weavers and drivers are overly clever. Your endeavors differ from the lovers. Chauffeurs are rovers and not always lovers. Never sever a mover who suffers. All right. Got one drill left. This is the when, was, what is drill. I'm going to give you the phrases before I start the sentences. Here we go. Was he, was she, was it. When is, what was, what were. Was this, was that, was not. When are, what will, what can. Was gone, was done, was said, when can. What would, what shall, what could. What is going on? What is the time? When is the ruling? What is the ruling? Court was adjourned then. What is the sentence? The attorney was late. What is the matter? What is the problem? What is happening? When is it happening? What is our option? What is her name? What is the book? When is the trial date? Where was the exhibit? What is the decision? When is the trial date? When is the decision? What is the statute? What is our chance? What is the law? What is wrong now? What is it I said? What is finished? What is the code section? What is the verdict? When is the verdict? What is to be done? When is it to be done? What is the ending? It was too late to file. What is your opinion? What is it you said? What is now in print? What is so important? What is in evidence now? The opinion was good. What is the time limit? When is the time limit? What is being done? When is it being done? What is that for? What is the truth? What is your question? What is his secret? What is your position? What is the difference? The ruling was reversed. What is his story? When is your theory? What is your theory? What is the best way? What is his statement? What is his treatment? When is his treatment? All right, let's do. Actually, I am going to give you some common briefs with sentences. These focus on common statements from attorneys. So it's kind of like a word drill / brief drill. Okay, so you're going to hear examine, which is initial X. Examination, you can either write that as initial X final GS or XAGS. Incompetent, IP. Immaterial, IMT. Telephone, TEFL. Instrument, STRUMT. Under the circumstances, UTS. Under all the circumstances, AULTS. Previous, PR long EV. Court reporter, KRORP. Indict, D long IT. And indictment, D long IMT. All right, here are your sentences. You must examine all of the evidence carefully before you decide. Please examine Exhibit D, then examine Exhibit H. The doctor had to examine the patient before rendering his medical opinion. The examination of the documents took several hours. His attorney recommended a medical examination. Upon close examination, the diamond was proven to be fake. She said he was incompetent and not able to make a decision. I cannot believe how incompetent you can be. The incompetency of the witness was evident. The subject is immaterial. Objection, Your Honor, immaterial. Whether or not he goes with us is immaterial. The telephone rang several times before the police officer picked it up. Did you talk to him in person or by telephone? The telephone call came at a very bad time. Which instrument was used to repair the hole in the suspect's leg? A doctor uses many instruments during surgery. My musical instrument of choice is a piano. Under the circumstances, I don't think I will arrive to the party on time. Well, under the circumstances, it is apparent that he is lying. Under the circumstances, I feel you have done a good job. I'm sure you did your best under all the circumstances. It is a miracle that they found the murder weapon under all the circumstances. Under all the circumstances, he really blew it. When was the previous report given? At his previous job, he earned less money. What was your previous address? The court reporter is the lady seated to your left. The court reporter will prepare a written transcript of the proceedings. What time is the court reporter due to arrive at the deposition? When do you think they will indict him? The man was indicted for murder of another man. I know they will indict him after they hear all the testimony. The indictment came suddenly. What was the indictment for? The murder indictment was a sure thing. All right. And I did pull some common phrases, so I do want to give you those, okay? Common phrases. You're going to phrase as much as possible. Okay, here we go. Is, whether or not, may not, or not, whether or not, of course, of the, because of, in lieu of, in spite of, in view of, off the, law officer, law enforcement officer, police officer, about how often, too often, on or about, on the other hand, which is OEND, on the part, in my opinion, in your opinion, which is NURP, in our opinion, or not, place of business, place of employment, plaintiff's exhibit, PLEX, point of law, point of view, police department, police officer, police station, preponderance of the evidence, Mr. President, Ms. President, the President, Vice President, Vice Presidents, previous to, prior to, proximate cause, can he recall, can I recall, can recall, could have recalled, could recall, did he recall, did I recall, did you recall? Now, let's move on to our poem. I have a poem for you. This is called Me Stew. Here we go. I will read this at 1:40. I have nothing to put in my stew, you see, not a bone or a bean or a black-eyed pea. So I'll just climb in the pot to see if I can make a stew out of me. I'll put in some pepper and salt, and I'll sit in the bubbling water. I won't scream a bit. I'll sing while I simmer. I'll smile while I'm stewing. I'll taste myself often to see how I'm doing. I'll stir me around with this big wooden spoon and serve myself up at 1:45 noon. So bring out your your stew bowls, you gobblers and snackers. Farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with some crackers. All right. I've got some congressional record. The subject is public health care. Let me give you a word list. You're going to hear rural, populous, elderly, practitioner, professional, impede, writs, political, laboratories, clinic, politicizing, indigent, national health, centralized, nationalization, unconstitutional, collectivize, and interference. Here we go, ready? I'll start at 120, work my way to 160. Here we go. Mr. Speaker, today I am reintroducing a bill to repeal Titles 3 and 6 of the Public Health Services Act, which was created by Public Law 15-602, the National Health and Resources Development Act of 2013. I am recommending the repeal of Public Law 15-602 for the following reasons. First, the law provided for the total and centralized control of healthcare by the federal government. Obviously, this is a major step toward complete nationalization of the healthcare professions. It is recognized that federal health planning will lead to total federal control of healthcare. One of the goals of the plan is to collectivize the payments for medical services. Another goal is to propose maximum allowable charges for drugs and professional services to the elderly and the indigent. Health planning can work only if the federal government has total control over the supply of health services. Second, federal health planning is a step toward politicizing the entire field of healthcare. The supply of health services, such as hospitals, clinics, and laboratories, is not determined by the demand for services, but rather by the officers of a health system agency who make a decision not always based on need, but on politics. Third, this law will impede the delivery of health services to the rural areas where the political pull is less than that of the more populous areas. Fourth, Public Law 15-602 is unconstitutional on many grounds. Several states have filed writs charging that Public Law 15-602 violates the 10th Amendment. If we continue on this path, the American people will be denied the right to control their own health care. Government will be involved in everything from fee setting to hiring medical practitioners. We must change our course and begin to eliminate government's control and interference into health care. All right, let's do some jury charge. We're going to start out again at 120, work our way to 160. All right. And let me give you a word list. You're going to hear grief, sorrow, poverty, funeral, moral, heirs, premature, relative, matrix systems, companionship, deceased, Craig Roger, Martin Bryan, let's see, Denise Lee, Michelle Ray, Alfred B. Schuster, compensation, expectancy, natural, and soulless. All right, here we go. Ready? The heirs of Alfred B. Schuster, the deceased, are the real parties of interest in this action. They are Michelle Ray, the widow, and Denise Lee, age 12, Craig Roger, age 10, and Martin Bryan, age 6, the minor children of the deceased. If under the court's instructions you find that the plaintiffs are entitled to recover against the defendant, Matrix Systems, you will award as damages such a sum of money as will be just compensation for the loss which each of the heirs has suffered by reason of the death of Alfred B. Schuster, the deceased. In determining the amount of such a loss, you may consider the reasonable financial support, if any, which each of the said heirs would have received from the deceased if he had lived, and the right to receive support, if any, which each of said heirs has been deprived of by reason of his premature death. Let me just note that the right of one person to receive support from another person is not destroyed by the fact that the former does not need the support, nor by the fact that the latter has not provided it. You must also consider the following: 1, the age of the deceased and of each of the heirs; 2, the health of the deceased and each heir immediately prior to his death; 3, the relative life expectancy of Alfred Schuster and of each of the heirs; 4, the disposition of the deceased to contribute financially to support each of the said heirs; 5, the earning capacity of the deceased; 6, the habits of investment and thrift of the deceased; and 7, other facts shown by the evidence that indicate specific benefits each heir might reasonably have been expected to receive from the deceased had he lived out his normal natural life. In regard to life expectancies, you should only be concerned with the shorter of the two, that of an heir or that of the decedent. You will award reasonable compensation for the loss of love, for companionship, for comfort, for affection, for solace, or for moral support. In determining the loss which each heir has suffered, you are not to consider the pain or suffering of the decedent, any grief or sorrow of his heirs, or the poverty or relative wealth of any or all of the heirs. Also, you should include in any award an amount that will compensate for reasonable funeral expenses. All right. Let's move on to Q&A. Again, we're going to start at 120 and work our way to 160. All right. This is going to be plaintiff questioning. Here we go. Ready? Now, how long were you at the Loma Linda University as a result of the accident? Overnight. Overnight and half of the morning. Then from the time that you were actually released from the hospital the next day to the time you went to the chiropractor, how many days elapsed? A day. 1 day? Yes. Now let's see if I get all this straight. You suffered pain when? At the time of the accident. When you went to the hospital, you had pain to both shoulders, your neck, and your left foot. Did you have back pain at that time as well? Yes. You didn't mention that. I didn't know if you had it at the time. Yes. Okay, I have nothing further. Anything else, counsel? No, I have no questions as well. Propose the following stipulation after we find out what time your turnaround is. 2 weeks. Pretty common, isn't it? Let's go off the record. Upon completion of the original transcript and transmittal of the original transcript to counsel for plaintiff, the court reporter will be relieved of her duties under the code. Counsel for plaintiff will obtain the deponent's signature, which is me. Mr. Golden will be counsel for plaintiff for these purposes. Do you want to start again? Take 2. So Mr. Golden will obtain the signature of the deponent under penalty of perjury and advise counsel for co-plaintiff and the defendant of any changes or corrections prior to 48 hours before the scheduled arbitration. And in the event that the original transcript is unsigned at the time of the or unavailable at any other further proceeding, a certified copy will be appropriate for all purposes. Mr. Golden will retain custody and control over the original transcript and have it available at all further proceedings. So stipulated. Okay, so stipulated. All right, so we just finished that transcript. All right. Now, this next one is going to be a little bit more dense. It's on a gas company gas line issue. So it's a little bit more dense material. And then I've got another one that we'll do after this that's more court for voice. All right, this is going to start with defense. Okay. All right, here we go. Mr. Estrada, can I call you Bill? Sure, yes. Is that okay? Have you ever had your deposition taken before? My deposition taken before? Yes. Have you ever given a deposition? Previously? Yes. Like for this particular? No, just generally. No. Okay, has your attorney explained to you how it's going to proceed? Pretty much, yes. And you understand how it's going to proceed? Yes. Do you understand that the testimony you are going to give today is under oath as if it could be used in a court of law? Yes. Okay. When you answer a question, make sure you answer it loudly so the court reporter can hear it. Okay. Don't use hand gestures. Don't shake your head because she can't take down 2 at the same time. Okay. A transcript will be basically, okay. I said 2 at the same time. I meant she can't take down your gestures. So she can't take down 2 people talking at the same time. Okay, I know what you mean. Thank you. A transcript will be basically taken from what she is writing out right now. Okay, and you will have an opportunity to take a look at that. If there is anything you remember later that wasn't said today, you'll have an opportunity to change it. Okay, just keep that in mind. Wait for the end of the question before you answer. Think about the question before you answer it. Okay, and then basically give your answer. Don't guess. Use your best estimate on the answer. Be sure you understand the question. Okay, If you don't understand the question, say, I don't understand. Would you please say it again? Or could you please restate it? Is there any legal reason why this deposition shouldn't be taken today? Any legal reason? No. Okay. Not that I'm aware of, and he wouldn't know about that. He's not an attorney. That's an interesting question, counsel. Did you review any documents today in preparation for the deposition? No, I did not. No, okay. I'm going to do some preliminary questions. Could you state your full name and spell it? Bill Estrada, Bill-Estrada. And what is your age? I am currently 44 years old. And your date of birth? 8/25/72. What is your business address and phone? Business address is 4495 Howard Avenue, Riverside, California, 92507. Phone number is area code 909-335-7665. Give him your current title. Current title is Field Operations Supervisor 2. And that's with the Southern California Gas Company? Yes, it is. Okay, what are your current duties? Current duties are mostly field duties, overseeing new construction, replacement repairs of underground gas lines. Okay, what is your educational background? Educational background, I have an Associate of Science degree in Supervision Industrial Management. Where did you get that from? Chaffey College. What year did you get that? In 2001. Ever been convicted of a felony? No, sir. Involving dishonesty or perjury? No. How long have you been with the gas company? I've been with the gas company 21 years. Were you employed in 2014 by the gas company? Yes, I was. And were you working in December of that year? Yes. Okay, did you have occasion? Were you ever asked to go to 5260 La Sierra Avenue in December of that year? Yes. Okay, and do you remember if it was Christmas or about Christmas time? About Christmas time, yes. Do you pretty well remember that incident in your mind? Not clearly. Oh, okay. When I asked you if you had been there before, what prompted you to go there in December of that year? I was requested to take pictures of an incident that had taken place prior. Do you remember the date that you were requested to go out to the site? No, I don't. Okay, so do you remember if it was in December though? Right, it was. It was around, I don't know if it was before Christmas or after Christmas, but I know it was in December. And how did you get called out there? And who called you out there? I don't recall who called. Well, did someone call you or did you receive an order? Well, I don't know how I got the initial call to go out there. In the mornings when we're here, a lot of conversations that take place somewhere in that morning, I was asked to go out and meet a crew and take pictures of an incident while the crew was on call. Okay, did a supervisor ask you to do that? Yes, it was another supervisor. And who was that? I can't recall if it was a supervisor out of Ontario or out of the Riverside facility. Okay, what is your title there? At this time, my title is Field Supervisor. Okay, and what did you do when you got the call? It was in the morning there. I made plans to meet the crew out there, and they were ready for me to take the pictures. Could you recall a time that was? First thing in the morning, somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, when I received the instructions to go out there. And what time did you actually get out there? Oh, to my best estimate, it was somewhere prior to 10 o'clock that morning. When you got out there, what did you do? What did you first see? What did you see and what did you do? I'm going to object on the grounds that it's compound, one or the other. What did he see or what did he do? When you first got there, what did you see? The crew up by the house. Who was in the crew? The only one I could recall was the crew leader, his name is Tom Lobato. What is his title? He's a crew leader. Oh, okay, and who else? Do you remember anybody else? No, I don't recall who the crew assistant was. How many people were in the crew? Just two. Tom and someone else? Yes. What did you do when you got there? My assignment was to go there and take pictures. My intention was to drop the camera off to him and let him take the pictures that were necessary to be taken and then go. And how many pictures did you take? I don't recall. What kind of camera did you use? It was a digital camera. And did the pictures get printed that morning? Yes, they did. What did you do with the pictures? The pictures were then given to the crew leader. And that's Tom Lobato? Yes. What did you take pictures of? An excavation that was open. And where? How close to the house was it? Do you recall? Very close to the house. It was at our meter location. Oh, okay. Which is probably about a foot away from the house or so. That's an estimate. Okay, do you recall what the picture depicted? Two lines. Let me back up for a minute. I know this is a little bit late. I'm going to object as to vague and ambiguous, as to multiple pictures. What did the picture depict? Pictures. Are you asking what he took pictures of essentially? What he took pictures of and what did the picture show? Again, that is compound. If you could break that down, he would better be able to answer the question. Break it down per picture. It's pretty simple. As I said before, I don't recall how many pictures were taken. Okay, from the best as you can recall. Okay, I know one picture was taken of an excavation, which our crew had been sent to dig up. And that picture showed our gas line and another line, which we guessed was their house line. Did you see any burn marks on the pipes when you took the pictures? Yes, we did, or I did. Where were the burn marks located? On our gas riser, on the vertical run of our gas service. Could you explain that a little better? I don't understand that. Our gas line runs underground and then it curves up as it comes above ground to the shutoff valve. And the part that runs up and down, which would be north and south, there was a burn mark there where the other line was pretty close to our gas service. Is that above ground? No, it was below ground. The burn marks were below ground? Below ground, yes, it was not visible. How do you know they were burn marks? I have had experience in seeing them. With my experience with the gas company, I have. I'm a welder. I've been a welder. And part of my job is to inspect welds on crews, contracts, welders, arc welders, and I know what an arc burn looks like. How much experience have you had in that area? 21 years in this position and a welder since 2011. And I've also been a supervisor for the last 8 years, supervising large construction crews and arc welders. All right, so we're going to stop there and I'm going to switch transcripts. All right. This next one is going to be a court transcript. Okay. And then we'll go back to do this for a few minutes and then go back to a depo transcript. How are we doing on time? Perfect. All right. And looks like defense is questioning. Had you intended them to type a policy? Had you had a written binder? Yes. Then they would have typed a policy up because of the standard policy reference. Is that correct? Yes. Now below it says insure and then the words new owner and assignee. What is the significance of the entries in that block? The person being named on the binder would be the new owner or a beneficiary or an assignee. That would be the type of binder to be processed, whether we were issuing a binder or an owner, a beneficiary, or assignee. In this case, none of the three is circled or anything indicated to mean that. What does that mean, if anything? Let's go off the record for a moment. Back on the record. The placing of the numbers 22 next to page means the pool is instructed to look on page 22 in order to find the owner there. Yes. And the binder is to make reference to the person as the person who they are prepared to insure. Is that correct? Yes. Well, is it fair to say that the person is to be shown as an owner? Is that what insure new owner means? Yes, right. Is the page 22 in the packet? Yes. I believe, Terry, this is where you would reference back to the best A. So you look for A to A. Is that correct? Yes. A to A, or the circled A that appears on the side. Okay, page 22 appears to be a copy of the trustee's deed upon sale. Is that correct? Yes. It has the red writing with some blue with circles in the margin, referencing Exhibit B. Is any of the handwriting on Exhibit B yours? No. This is page 22 of the packet. Is that correct? Yes. Is this what one might refer to as the operative document for determining where the title, the person or persons to be shown as owners was found? Is this the language that the typing people are supposed to type for the owner, the person who processes the file? Yes. Do you have any idea who wrote the A to A material? Yes. Who? Mac Donner. It appears to be a restatement of what is found in the paragraph, which has an arrow going to the red writing. Is that correct? Yes, it does. Do you know who wrote the blue ink, arrows, and circle? No, I don't. Do you have any knowledge as to when those arrows were placed there? No, I don't. Mr. Powers, does the title searcher re-indicate this by going to a bunch of sources and putting this document together in effect? Yes. As long as we are being so thorough, he pulls the documents which are shown as he checks these areas shown on the brief under account. Those are location areas within the files maintained at First American. The title searcher has checked for documents to make up the search. Is that correct? Yes. Does First American keep their documents then in some kind of a file arrangement based on geographical locations? No, but we do use the word geographical index. Okay, what is a geographical index? That is the packet that documents pertaining to specific pieces of property are compiled and stored. In this packet, we have been referring to geographical index? No. What is the differentiation? Geographical index could be a folder similar to this that information would be kept in. Then the information out of the geographical index would be compiled into a preliminary title report. All right, so let's switch one more time. Make sure and give you plenty of different material, variety. And this is going to be plaintiff. Mr. St. George, I know you have been deposed before. Let me just briefly explain. I will ask you questions. Your statements, you took an oath. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay. Go ahead and give us your name and address for the record. William Stephen St. George. My address is 2550 Los Alamos Way, Covina, California. Were you at this meeting on Monday with Mr. Gillespie and some of the other Doughboy people where you prepared this deposition or talked about the deposition? Yes. Did you receive either at that time or at an earlier time a summary of some sort telling you a little bit about this case? A couple paragraphs or something? Yes. Did you receive any other material besides the case summary? I reviewed one of my previous depositions. Was that the one that you gave in August in the Jonathan case to Mr. Gordon? Yes. That's the one everybody else got. Okay. I just assumed that you were treated equally. Did you get that on Monday then, at the meeting on Monday? Yes. Have you had a chance to read that? I reviewed it. Did you read it from cover to cover or just look at parts of it? I skimmed it from cover to cover. Well, let me ask you this question. If you feel this is an unfair question or you can't handle it, let me know. I just want to know, is everything that you skimmed in the deposition? I am not sure how you use the word skim, but is there anything in there that you feel wasn't accurately recorded, something that needs to be clarified, or is in the information in that deposition pretty much accurate based upon your skimming it? Yes, with the exception of some references in there to SCC, when it should be SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. Probably a typographical error. Yes, outside of that, it was fine. Everything appeared to be basically okay. Yes, I have not read the deposition. I have a summary here that was prepared, but it is a very skimpy summary. Have you ever seen this summary? No, I haven't. You did not prepare this? No. Are you married? Yes. Do you have any children at home? One. And age? Today is Thursday, so Wednesday. So he is still 11. He turns 12 on Friday. I have an 11-year-old myself. And your date of birth? September 27, 1970. What is your present position at Doughboy? Treasurer. Is that the same position you had in August of 2017? Yes. How long have you been treasurer? July 2009. Is that when you started with Doughboy? No. When did you start with Doughboy? February 15, 2005. And what positions did you hold between 2005 and 2009? I was controller for Doughboy Recreational Inc. Did you have? Approximately a year later, I became vice president and the controller of Doughboy Recreational. Does that cover it? Yes, it does. Prior to 2005, did you work for any other pool companies? No. You don't need to give me every company, but what was your basic background before 2005? Well, several years in the public accounting profession, followed by the accounting profession on the private side. All right, so we'll stop there and do a little read back. End with some read back. right. Now, the read back is going to be read first time at 160, then at 140, again at 120. Okay. All right. All right, so this is going to be defense questioning. It's a continuation of a read back that we did last week. Here we go. No other children? No, no other children. Then did you have any conversation with Mrs. Bold about returning for the clothes? Yes, I told her to be sure and call me and let me know when she came back. And this conversation you had was after the clothes were loaded? Yes, that's right. She was starting to go. And did you say anything else at that time? I don't remember. Did she say anything else? That I don't remember. And when she did return, when did you first see her? Well, I had just laid my daughter down for a nap, and I heard the dog barking, so I went out to see what she was barking about, and there stood Mrs. Bold in the back of my yard. Did you see anyone else? Her daughter was with her. Was the daughter in the yard at that time? Well, she was half and half. She was in between the gate and was she standing in the gateway? Is that what you mean? Yes, she was just coming through the gate into the yard. All right, so we'll do it again at 140. Here we go. No other children? No, no other children. Then did you have any conversation with Mrs. Bold about returning for the clothes? Yes, I told her to be sure and call me and let me know when she came back. And this conversation you had was after the clothes were loaded? Yes, that's right. She was starting to go. And did you say anything else at that time? I don't remember. Did she say anything else? That I don't remember. And when she did return, when did you first see her? Well, I had just laid my daughter down for a nap, and I heard the dog barking. So I went out to see what she was barking about, and there stood Mrs. Bold in the back of my yard. Did you see anyone else? Her daughter was with her. Was the daughter in the yard at that time? Well, she was half and half. She was in between the gate and was she standing in the gateway? Is that what you mean? Yes, she was just coming through the gate into the yard. All right, so we'll do it one last time at 120. Here we go. No other children? No, no other children. Then did you have any conversation with Mrs. Bold about returning for the clothes? Yes, I told her to be sure and call me and let me know when she came back. And this conversation you had was after the clothes were loaded? Yes, that's right. She was starting to go. And did you say anything else at that time? I don't remember. Did she say anything else? That I don't remember. And when she did return, when did you first see her? Well, I had just laid my daughter down for a nap, and I heard the dog barking, so I went out to see what she was barking about, and there stood Mrs. Bold in the back of my yard. Did you see anyone else? Her daughter was with her. Was the daughter in the yard at that time? Well, she was half and half. She was in between the gate, and was she standing in the driveway or gateway? Is that what you mean? Yes, she was just coming through the gate into the yard. All right, so I said something a little bit different in the 120 take. At the very last question, it's supposed to say, was she standing in the gateway? I accidentally said, was she standing in the driveway or the gateway? All right, so if you go back and read that at the 120 speed, make sure you do that if you're reading your 120 notes, because that was a little bit different there than the 140 and 160 take. All right, so make sure you go back and read through your notes, see how you did. All right, it will take you 5 minutes to do. All right, so that concludes our Mid Speeds Live class. Have a wonderful evening.